Hi guys, this is Donna with Love Rocks, and we are finally back. We've got moved. We are settled partially in our new home and ready for another video. So thank you for bearing with me, and we're going to get started as soon as we can on this one. So a couple of things. First of all, if you want to be in the drawing for this particular rock, you have to subscribe or already be subscribed. And you have to leave a comment at the bottom underneath this video. Second thing is you will notice at the end of this video that there are two rocks with hummingbirds on them. So the video that I did, when I got to the tail, I realized that my rock wasn't large enough, but I had already painted almost the entire hummingbird. So I went ahead and kept the video because I didn't want to refilm the whole thing again, but I wanted to have a better looking bird that the tail wasn't cut off. So I quickly did a second one. And so the one pictured at the beginning of this video is the one that we'll be giving away. But if you notice that the two of them are a little bit different, that is the explanation behind it. So let's get started. The sketching is pretty basic and straightforward. You've got a little round head that kind of turns into a water droplet shape as you're putting it together. You've got that long beak for the bird, and then you've just got kind of a little elongated body with a tail and the wings. Now you can make the wings go up as I did, or you can move them around a little bit. These little critters, they move their wings so fast and they move them in all kinds of directions. So if you look at a few pictures and you decide you want those wings to go in a different direction, you're more than welcome to do that. This was an easy version, so I thought I would put it together so that it would be easy to duplicate and practice. And then once you're starting to feel comfortable with that, you can go in and you can move those around any place you want. The colors will be in the description. I went with some different blue hues. You can pick any color that you want. They are so vibrant, and you find them in so many different colors that, pretty much sky's the limit. You can paint this little guy in just about any color that you want. And I thought I would talk a little bit about the process while you're watching this. Don't forget, you can always pause the sketch, especially so that you can duplicate that sketched out area. And then again, pause it anytime that you're painting and you need to take a moment to try to duplicate that piece of it. So I actually pulled this rock off of our property, and in order to get it ready, it was a fairly smooth rock, so I didn't have to do a whole lot to it. I brought it in, I scrubbed it with I have a little scrub brush, and set it down and let it dry. Now, while it's wet, that is when I take the time to figure out what colors I'm going to put on it, because that wet look is what color it's going to be once you seal it. So that gives you an opportunity to kind of pick your colors, knowing what the background is going to look like. You don't want anything too dark if you're using dark colors, and you don't want anything too light if you're going to use light colors. So that's just, how I prep it. Now, if I have a rock that has a lot of fissures in it, a lot of abnormalities in it, I sometimes will go ahead and put a base coat on it. Most of my rocks I pick out specifically that don't have that, so I don't have to do a lot of prep work. But it sometimes is hard to find rocks. When we were in Texas, I had a horrible, difficult time finding rocks. Our new place happens to have rocks all over it. So if you happen to be in a place that, you have to take what you can get, then you can prep your rock with some extra paint, you can put a couple of layers down and just get it ready for painting. And sometimes that'll help. I've used a lot of different techniques of doing paint. If it's got a lot of absorbency, if it seems to absorb your paint real easily and it's real porous, I've even put a layer of seal on. I'll put the background color, put just a light layer of seal, and then paint it on top of that. And that will help as well. It'll keep that paint from being sucked down into the rock. It'll also give it more of a smooth surface. So if you're doing some fine lines, it's easier to get those fine lines on there. These are just little things that I've learned, not by anything, but doing it on my own. So as you go through my videos and you see like the first video compared to today's video, you'll notice that I've changed a few things up, and that's because I found things that have worked a little easier and worked a little nicer as I'm painting. So once you get your rock ready to go, I always sketch on it. Now, 90% of the time, I just use a pencil, just a plain pencil lead pencil to do my sketches. If I have a rock that the pencil lead doesn't show up on, I do have a chalk pencil. You can get them at any of your basic stores, your craft stores, back where all the painting supplies are, and they work very well. So sometimes that's what I'll use if I have a really dark rock and I've got to do something that I can see. Other than that, that's really the only two things that I sketch with. I have a gum eraser that I use. Again, you can find that in just any store that you go to. I don't think that, or any craft store, I don't think that the eraser is horribly important. I just happen to like that. When I used to do a lot of artwork, that's what I used, and it seems to leave the least amount of smudges. So that is what I use most of the time. Once I get the sketch on, then I use folk art paints. I use multi-surface for the most part. I've got a couple of colors that are not multi-purpose. They're just a matte, and that would be my black. And I think I have a gray matte also. And so those are just the paints that I use. I do have some metallic paints. I don't tend to use them very often. I do use them more with my hiding rocks than I do the rocks that I show you on my videos. So that's the paints that I use. And then for sealing, I use several different sealers. When I first started, I tried to stick with one or two. I tried different ones to see which one I liked. And I'll be honest, some of them tend to yellow a little bit. Some of them are a little slower to dry. Some of them are a little, they seem to drip easier. But I don't feel like there is a huge difference between any of them. Not enough of a difference to use one or the other exclusively. So I tend to go towards the ones that are, first of all, the easiest to find. And second of all, anything that's not too outrageous in price. I give away my rocks that I do for my videos, and I hide the rocks that I do for rock hiding. Now, once we have gotten completely unpacked, we're still living out of quite a few boxes. I will be starting my my shop, and it will be open online so that I can sell some of my rocks, because I do have a lot of rocks that people would like to have. So I will be selling them off of that. when I do that, I think I'm going to go ahead and start using the resin. I've played with it a little bit. I by no means am I the queen of resin, by no means. But I've played with it a little bit, and I've just about got it to the point that it looks good, and I don't make too big of a mess anymore. So I think that's what I'll probably use for the ones that go into the shop. They take a little more time. It's a little more expensive to use the resin on them, but you get a more quality appearance from your rock when you do it. So when I start doing those on a pretty regular basis, I'll do a video on doing the resin, and I'll show you the one that I picked and how I do it and all of that. So back to this little guy. If you'll notice, it's about right here when I realize that the tail has to completely circle around the rock. And with that, it gives, if you're holding the rock and you're looking at it in person, it looks proportionate. It looks right. But when you look at it under, like, to take a picture of it, it looks so disproportioned because that tail's wrapping around the side of the rock. And that's why I did another one to actually give away, because I felt like, oh man, this just doesn't look right. And I want something, you know, nice to send out. I don't want to send something that I'm not happy with. So you'll see that I didn't toss it. I'll be 100% honest with you. The one that I actually videoed that's too small or too big for the rock and wraps around the rock, that one's going to turn into a hiding rock. And that's how I do things. If I'm trying to practice something and it doesn't come out just right, those are all hiding rocks. If I do something that I want to try 2 or 3 times and try to perfect it, many of those become hiding rocks. So I guess what I'm trying to say is try to take some of the stress off of yourself to be perfect each time, because honestly, you don't have to be perfect each time. Just know that each rock will have its own place. If it turns out great, then those are the ones you're going to give away to family and friends, or, you know, put in a craft show or whatever you're going to do with them. And then if it doesn't turn out great, well, that's the one that you've decided you're going to hide. So you don't have to put so much pressure on yourself to be perfect each time. And when you alleviate some of that stress, it makes you enjoy it. It allows you to enjoy doing it again. And that is the most important part. This is a hobby that you should enjoy. Now, there are those who have turned this into something where they want to make a bunch of money, and that is great for them. I tip my hat to them. There's a lot of work put into this to get to that point. If you're not that person, if this is more of a hobby, don't let the stress of being perfect each time ruin what made you come to this hobby, because it is such an amazing thing to do, and it's so much fun, and it's so relaxing. It's something that you can do with, you know, other parts of your family and friends, and you can share with other people. So please let the hobby stay loved in your eyes as much as it did the first time you did it. Don't let it become something that stresses you out. So once you get this little guy put together, I went ahead and I did seal him. I played with him and played with him and played with him, trying to get him to look just right. And it's just, no matter what you do, that tail just has that weird look because it's circling that round rock. So I hope that you were able to see how I got in the different colors and the shading. Just a quick note on the shading. Remember that the sun most likely is going to be coming from the top. Shade up underneath his chin, that'll give you the roundness of his face. Shade up underneath his belly, and then make sure that you shade up underneath his wings where they attach to his back. And that'll give him more of a realistic look, and it'll give him some definition, it'll give him some curvature, and that's what you're really looking for, is trying to get that curvature. On his beak, I don't know if I did it on the video or if I did it afterwards. I did notice that it needed to have a little bit of a highlight across the top of that elongated beak, and so I did add just a teeny hair line across the top so that you could see almost a shiny spot there. So don't forget to do that as well. And this rock would be great for, oh gosh, you know, honestly, your garden. This would be a great rock for gardens if you're going to keep it. It's adorable. It looks good. It's nice and bright, and it's something that you could put in any part of your garden. It could also be put alongside the edge of, you know, a water bath for your birds, or along a path if you have one in your yard. Anything like that would look cute. The other place that I love to place rocks on my porch, you can have an area where you've got rocks sitting along the edge of the porch, or even if you have plants and you could sit it in a planter. So there's a lot of places that it would look really cute. Well, I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed this video. And I, again, thank you so much for sticking with me and waiting for the next video. I know this was a long process to wait for the next one to come out with all of our moving and stuff. And I really was stressing it because I didn't want to disappoint the audience. I didn't want you guys to lose hope that I would be back out there. And leave me some comments. I've got a couple of ideas, but throw me in some comments on things that you would like to see. Unfortunately, today, we've got just a few days before the 4th of July. So most likely I'm not going to get too much out for the 4th of July. I did a few things for Memorial, so those will probably have to suffice. I do need to get busy and get some more hiding rocks out to put out for the 4th of July. So I'll probably work on that. But if there's something that I might be able to put together by next week, then let me know in the comments so I can get them back out there and get another video to you guys. Also, let me know what you guys are working on. I would love to see, you know, some ideas of what other people are working on. And if you haven't already joined our Facebook group, please do. The link is in the description for Facebook. It's also in the description for Instagram. So depending on which social media you feel more comfortable with, it's great to have people in that. When I have drawings, I have a really difficult time finding people and letting them know that they've won if they don't check back. So if you're in one of those groups, it makes it even easier for me to try to find you and get an address and get your rocks out. To those of you who really had a delay in getting the last couple of rocks, I apologize from the bottom of my heart. We were smack in the middle of moving, and so I did get them all out finally. I still have a few people who haven't gotten addresses back to me, but again, thank you for just bearing with me, and I appreciate it. I hope that you guys come back And I'm just going to let you watch the end of this video, and we will draw on this one next Sunday. I'll leave that date in the description. Have a great weekend, and please have a safe 4th of July. Hope to see you guys on the next video.